And we're live!
And we're live,
Yay.
everybody. Welcome to another Toons podcast with me, your host, Jack Haywood. Yeah, we're going to do another news week, and then hopefully a movie later. So there's just bits and bobs in the news today. I think we're going to say the Cartoon Network pilot stuff for another show. But there is also some stuff about, I don't know, what do we just talk about? I don't know. There's a lot of stuff in the wind.
Yeah.
DCs Policy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot
And
of,
we
to be
will-
honest, this week was a pretty insubstantial week for news, so be forgiven if we don't have a lot to talk about.
Yeah, and we will definitely be talking about M. Night Shyamalan defending Last Airbender movie again, because that's just too funny.
Yeah, definitely.
But before all that, we're going to be talking about DCs Policy. So, DC basically have this policy where if a character is going to, or it does exist in the movies, they don't want them to exist in the TV shows. And a lot of characters have been removed from shows because of this. For example, Deadshot is gone from Arrow. I think there's a character from The Flash that's they want to put in, but they're not going to. Can't remember who. Katana is going from Arrow. Harley Quinn was going to be a really big part of Arrow, but they couldn't do it because of Suicide Squad. It's just annoying that the characters get like made famous first in the series, and then they get stolen by the movies.
Exactly.
What do you guys? Yeah, what do you guys think about it? Obviously, it sucks.
It's the most brain-dead fucking policy I've heard in, like, possibly ever, I think. Because this implies that DC just thinks that their audiences are fucking stupid to not know the difference between a movie version of the specific character and the film and the TV show version of that specific character. Because I don't know about you, that would imply they think like people confuse like the 1960s Adam West Batman with like say The Dark Knight, which I wouldn't be surprised if they actually think that.
Yeah.
They're too out of touch.
Pretty much.
And George had a good point there. Is that there have been we have seen the Adam West Batman, and nobody ever compared the Adam West Batman to any of the movies that came out, starting with Tim Burton's Batman, all the way up to the Christopher Nolan. Nobody see the difference there. So, it's so strange why DC, in particular Warner Brothers, has this weird policy that no, whatever characters we have in the movies, it can't be used in the TV shows. And even more is that they want the characters who appear in the movies, as according to Will Smith, as the definitive versions of the said characters. So in Will Smith's case, he said this himself. He wants his version of Deadshot to be the Deadshot that everybody should remember it, and not the one in Arrow.
Yeah.
And let me add to that when Stephen Amell, the guy who played Oliver
Arrow.
Queen in the Arrow TV series, was asked about this, he was very upset, considering that especially in the case of the Flash movie coming out in 2018, because it's confirmed that it's definitely going to be Barry Allen. So if the policy remains true for DC, it would mean that Grant Gustin, who plays Barry Allen in the TV series, has to be removed in favor of Ezra Miller for the very same reasons, despite the fact that according to the people behind the movie, which is, I think they're also the Lego movies, they say that their version of the Flash has no ties whatsoever to either the TV series or the DC cinematic universe. It's going to be its own thing.
Then what's the fucking point of possibly canceling the fucking show then?
So
will the Flash be cancelled because of the movie?
It might be if they keep this policy up, and is fucking stupid.
It's highly possible that they would cancel the Flash series if they bring in Barry Allen. On the other hand, there's also a possibility they would continue the Flash series without Barry Allen and instead introduce the other Flash like Wally West or Bart Allen. They've already hinted that in the second season, Wally West will make an appearance
I doubt
in the
people would
show.
continue to watch it though.
And if this one goes, then they would probably build up Wally West as the next Flash to replace Barry Allen when 2018 comes.
Yeah. I doubt they'll do that though. That's like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of but yeah, DC basically, it does make sense, but it's just, you know, when like the films are like inferior to what's going on in the TV shows, I think people are going to get annoyed.
Pretty much.
I mean, it pretty much gives up the notion that, according to some observers, as far as DC is concerned, they are very good telling stories if it's in a TV format or in an animated format, as we did with the animated movies. But when it comes to the actual films themselves, compared to Marvel, they're pretty much bad at it. It's really, really bad at it. I mean, not because the writing sucks, but because of these strange policies they're bringing out.
Exactly. I mean, with the start of them trying to start their own cinematic universe, and this is something me and my friend Dylan and Proto talk about a lot, is that they're just trying to copy Marvel, but really, why should they? It works for Marvel, but that doesn't necessarily mean it works for DC necessarily. Like, if you look at like any of the animated films, they didn't set up their own like universe or stuff. They were just focused on actually making films and just not focusing on franchise. This is something my dad talks about as well. The reason why so many films like back in like 30 years ago or so were so good is because they weren't thinking about the future. They were thinking about the present and not focusing on setting up franchises, setting up sequels, and all of the shit. They were actually focused on making a quality product, and I feel like that's really downtrodden DC now. That they're just trying to focus on trying to catch up with Marvel, and by doing that, they're kind of being detracting from Marvel.
Exactly. I would. And
keep in mind, this is coming from a guy who prefers DC to Marvel. I'll be the first to say that.
Yeah.
I would agree too. They really have to bring something out that will actually. I know that they're doing this to compete with Marvel because DC and Marvel have been at each other's throats for like time immemorial, but. These executive decisions, not exactly DC, but from Warner Brothers specifically, is just weird. It's already weird enough that the DC Nation block that we had a few years ago has been renamed into DC Kids, and all of the IP they're coming out are targeting at the very, very young crowd. So,
which is dumb. Like, when you really think about it, like, I can't really think of like a kid who would want to see something like I know like kids were probably like older kids like 10 to 15 are looking forward to like some of the other DC movies coming out like Batman versus Superman and stuff like that. But really, I can't really think of many kids who would be interested in that. And why are you making like these shows like Young Justice, the Green Lantern, the animated series, all these like why cancel those? Just for the sake of like bringing in shit like Teen Titans Go or something like that. Like, those were being successful. Those were actually quality product. I mean, I haven't seen Young Justice. I've seen a bit of Green Lantern, the animated series. But still, it's just idiotic thinking, and it's just dumb.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really infuriating, but at the same time strange that they cancel good shows for the sake of pandering an a specific audience when in fact DC has done an universe within with the help of Bruce Timm with the help of Bruce Timm using if you've seen the Justice League animated show, you understand where I'm coming from.
Exactly, with Bruce Timm and Paul Dini working together and creating a good amount of the original DC animated shows, like Batman the Animated Series, of course, Superman the Animated Series, even the Justice League stuff, and those are still remembered to this day. Like, I can't really think of
I would
anyone.
agree. It's like Bruce Timm, when he did the DC alternate universe, that was actually a pioneer back in the 90s, and everybody remembered it. And I am glad that he's coming back to work on a brand new universe, Gods and Monsters, which is pretty much a darker take on the DC universe. This time, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be a TV series or a web series. I
Web
think so.
series.
The web series, it's coming up probably June or July. Was it?
July. It's gonna start like a movie, like one of those movies that DC releases, but it's gotta premiere as a web series in September, I think, on Machinima.
Oh,
Yeah.
huh.
So that's probably one of the things I will be looking forward to as far as DC is concerned.
Well, yeah, because that's actually a really smart decision. Like a really smart decision. I'm surprised like they haven't thought of doing something like this with the movies. Like, why not just start out with like Justice League and then think of what's coming with the solo movies? Like, this is something I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just fucking hell.
Okay. I mean, to move on now.
All right then. Just my headset.
Yeah. So, what's next?
But what do you want next?
Not sure.
Let's do M. Night
Jack, you're
Shyamalan.
you're lagging on mine.
Oh, am I?
Yeah. Can you repeat that again?
Yeah. So M. Night Shyamalan.
Oh yeah. It's gonna be
Oh
fun.
my God!
Um,
Why Shyamalan? Why?
Because I'm a brain
Yeah.
dead idiot who went insane years ago.
of course, a little bit different to produce by Ryoga, since he knows the most about Split, right?
Yeah. Uh, yeah, there was some interference, Jack. Can you repeat that?
Oh, okay. Sorry, my internet's not been that great. Yeah. So I don't know. Ryoga can talk about it. I can. So Ryoga, do you wanna do this?
Okay, so basically, M. Night Shyamalan, the director, is pretty much up to this day is defending his film, The Last Airbender, which everybody knows is his take on the Nickelodeon's The Avatar franchise, and it was given with such universal hate. I could pretty much talk about why it's so bad. It could be the whitewashing of the Asian characters, the bad storytelling, the bad naming of the characters, and all that stuff.
The fact
And
that
yet,
it's a massive
to this
insult
day-
to the very basic ideas of storytelling, the fact that the acting is terrible, the fact that it barely represents the original show. I say
And the
barely
fact
because
that
there are
creators
some elements of the
themselves
original show.
are distancing themselves from the film, and yet Shyamalan, to this day, still defends that what he did was very good.
I, oh my God!
Okay,
Wow! No,
Here's the thing.
you
Here's the
literally
thing, guys.
cannot
Look-
defend something like this. Like, this is something that not only just like bombed critically. This was one of the biggest fucking bombs of 2012 of 10. This was labeled like as on several worst lists. This was nominated for like tons of Razzies, if I'm correct. Like, you cannot defend something like that. That would be like if I made like say like one of the worst movies of all time, and I open and say like, oh, I keep defending it like as a masterpiece, and everyone just you fucking idiot.
He's not defending it as a masterpiece. He's defending it because he said that it's a film made for a 9-year-old. And I was like,
That's even worse. That is even fucking worse. Because I don't know about you, I would not
let me
show
tell
my
you,
9-year-old something like that. Like, just because you say you're making a kids movie doesn't give you the excuse to produce such a poor ass piece of shit.
Let the man talk.
And let me tell you, I have a niece and a nephew who are fans of the Avatar, and they are the target audience, and they know the movie is bad compared to the TV series. They're not that they're not that dumb enough to know the difference. That this is just so bad. Now, here's the interesting thing. Before he made this comment, this defense, there has been this story that's been going on for a while. I don't know if you heard of it, of some guy who actually worked for Paramount Pictures. He posted on a blog on a forum about what really happened behind the scenes. That all of the casting choice, the executive, the creative choice, Shyamalan only have very little part in it, and that it's all done by the executives. That's some favor somewhat. That's why they had to hire those white actors
Yeah,
that
that's what I read.
hiring it. And Shyamalan, who was a fan of the film, was actually trying to salvage it as much as he could. And then when it came out, the blame's all on him. So when this guy was talking about it, there was this consensus that Shyamalan is only partly to blame, and the blame has to go to the executives who did that, and the fact that the creators have no part in it. But now that we have Shyamalan himself actually defending this film, everything that came out from that Paramount Pictures worker, whether legit or not, has pretty much thrown out of the window, and pretty much all the blame is pretty much on Shyamalan.
Good fucking God! Jesus fucking Christ!
Did you not read it, George?
I did not know this. I really didn't. Holy fucking God Almighty!
So
I mean, it was a lot of it.
If he didn't do this, I would have given the benefit of the doubt. But now that he pretty much made it clear that it was his work all along, it was pretty much everything all on him, I'm pretty giving that statement back and say, oh yeah, you're the one who really ruined that movie.
Exactly. Fucking hell. Fuck.
This is one of the.
Holy shit! I cannot fathom the amount of shit I just heard. I really can't. Holy fucking.
Shyamalan, you should have just stay quiet on this one, because that theory could have saved his ass. But things that he said.
I would agree. I agree. That theory would have definitely saved his ass from creating situation. But he pretty much screwed it up and made it totally his fault. He definitely tops Uwe Boll. I'm sure you've heard of the guy.
Yeah, I heard of it.
The worst director of all time.
Definitely.
Oh, Jesus Christ Almighty!
Sometimes he should stay quiet and not say a single fucking word.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, granted, I do love his work on Signs. I love the work on his Signs, but after this, I'm done with Shyamalan.
Did you like Signs?
Yeah, I first watched it. I was very young when I watched it. It wasn't that bad movie, and I actually enjoyed it. But I think that was the only movie from Shyamalan that I actually liked. I didn't like everything else that he made, but in this one, The Last Airbender, now that he made it clear that it was his doing all along, that's the nail in the coffin. So, I hate to give karma, but I do hope that pretty much crash and burns as a director.
He already has after Bomb, so 2 more and he's done.
Pretty much. I mean, after bombed, which I'm actually kind of sad that I actually thought that movie wasn't that bad. I mean, it wasn't very great by any means, but it's not like it's only at like what a 11 or something on Rotten Tomatoes. That was not an 11 level of movie. That was like a 30 or 20 at best. But I don't think the guy isn't terrible, like the worst director ever. I mean, I've seen far fucking worse, but still, after this debacle, just fuck you. That's all I gotta say to you. Just fuck you.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, I don't know. I have no more. I have no more words on this guy. Yeah, my final thoughts on this are just fuck you, and you should stay quiet, man. Mhm.
Fuck you.
Goodbye.
From the Master Tunes podcast, a long, hard fuck you.
So,
Um, so yeah,
so,
moving on.
Moving on.
so,
Sorry, I'm like
yeah, yeah.
about
Let's
Scooby.
Scooby-Doo.
yeah, let's talk about the signs that.
Oh my fucking god, where to begin?
They look awful.
Yeah.
They were fucking abysmal.
Like I don't understand what's with all this order of season 2 when the show is not even out yet. What are these people? Now this is Warner Brothers. What are they thinking? I mean, granted,
They
Disney
aren't
did that too
thinking.
Disney did this too with Star Wars: The Forces of Evil. Still, it's just a bizarre thing. There's that. It's not even out, and nobody has got a verdict, and they already decided, "Oh, we'll do season 2 because we know it's gonna be great." It's like, no, it's not.
No! You fucking idiots! Why are you doing this? Like, no one has seen it. You haven't even released a full trailer of it yet. All you've been giving us is just samplets of, like, storyboards, artwork, and some semblance of, and we don't even know what the fucking thing is going to be like. What is it going to be about? What the voice acting is going to be like. Going to sound like.
Basically, it's Family Guy for kids, which is exactly what it is. Family
It looks
Guy
like a
for
bad
kids.
Family Guy skit.
If you've seen the pilot, that's pretty much it.
God fucking damn it.
Like a troll. It's real.
Yeah. Yeah. This should because Scooby-Doo might be a train wreck up in the uprising, considering that Mr. Incorporated is one of the most beloved incarnations to this day, and anybody with a brain will say, "I'm satisfied that the franchise should end in this and just continue in the films," because
Pretty much.
that show was the definitive can be considered the definitive end of the franchise. That it should end it like this in a glorious golden note. But instead, we get big cool Scooby Doo, and it can become, and it will throw everything that Mr. Incorporated did through hell and beyond.
Which, by the way, Mystery Incorporated is one of the greatest animated shows of, like, well, the past 10 years. Like, some of the best quality of, like, any show I've seen in a long fucking time.
I would agree. I think Mystery Incorporated is pretty much the very best of what they did for the Scooby-Doo franchise. In part not because it's a slightly darker take on the show, but the fact how it actually ties to all the previous Scooby-Doo works, since they pretty much made a revelation
something with it.
That, spoiler alert, the very end of of Mystery Incorporated is actually the very first episode of the original Scooby-Doo series. So that pretty much was a big reveal there, and I loved it. And I was pretty much fine with them releasing just the animated movies every few months. I was fine with them having that Scooby-Doo WWE crossover. That's fine by me, but Be Cool Scooby-Doo.
It's looking like the Teen Titans Go of the Scooby-Doo franchise, pretty much.
I'm trying to look back to see all of the other Scooby-Doo TV series that they made that actually sucked. I know a lot of people hated the ones that include Scrappy-Doo. I didn't think that was bad, but that was the consensus there. There was one that's Scooby and Shaggy get a clue, where it's just the two of them solving clues like Blue's Clue style. That was bizarre. And then there's them as kids, Scooby-Doo Kids. That's another.
A puppet named Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, a pup named Scooby-Doo. That was another
show.
one. That's that. I did enjoy the Laugh Olympics. That was a really good Scooby-Doo series. I didn't like the part where he had a cousin Scooby-Dum and Scooby-D. That was bad. Those were bad.
The fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. He had a cousin named Scooby-Dum, as the name suggests, who is dumb, and then they have another cousin named Scooby-D, who is a female Scooby. Here's the thing, that Scooby-Doo and Scooby-Dum are fighting for her affections. So long before we had a
wait. Didn't you just say they were cousins?
Yes.
So what you're telling me is that these cousins have the hots for one of their cousins.
Long before there was a shipping between Ben and Gwen Tennyson, there was Scooby-Doo, Scooby-Dum fighting over Scooby-Doo.
Oh my fucking god!
It was like the 60s,
What
man.
was he thinking?
Well, hold on.
Nobody had a problem with two being cousins trying to fight for their affections. I don't know.
Okay, in the show's defense.
My apologies to the red states. I've never been to the red states. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, but I don't know if there are some places in America where you can actually marry your cousins.
I don't want to know.
I know it was referenced in one episode of The Simpsons that happened. So I don't know if it's true. So I apologize to you guys, but it seems that at least at the time when Scooby-Doo's done this, and to an extent, Ben 10, this is like the norm.
Uh,
Yeah, I apologize. If any of you guys from the red states are angry, feel free to throw your pitchforks at me, or worse.
I am never going to erase that image from my head. Thank you, Ryoga. Just thank you so fucking much. I'm gonna, after this podcast, I'm gonna take a shower made of holy water and bathe and possibly set myself on fire.
oh,
Maybe
God.
bring the camera with you, George, when you do that.
I will.
God damn it. God damn it. Is there anything else this podcast won't touch?
Nope, I don't think so.
This is.
Let's see, we've
There's
tackled
been a-
racism, homosexualities, let's see.
Trust
what
me,
else?
I'm very glad we're not. You guys are lucky we're not
Incest.
talking about the pilots right now, because if we're talking about the pilots,
We're gonna talk about the pilots tomorrow. Trust me. Trust me.
trust me,
Whatever
a
you're
lot,
gonna
a
say,
lot of
keep it there.
crazy shit has been going on since the pilots came out, and I got a lot of stories to tell. That's gonna make you cringe,
Oh,
especially
Jesus.
you,
The
George.
Super Show. The Super Pilot.
Thanks for setting up the tone, Ryoga. We appreciate it so much. Now I want to go fucking vomit back on my table so I can get ready for that podcast. Thank you very much.
Oh, sorry, I mean, which pilot? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
More specifically, 12 Forever by Julia Vickerman.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Who, by the way, I would say, if it weren't for, I don't know if it weren't for the, I think she's taken she has a girlfriend already. If it weren't for that, I would definitely fall for her because she's hot.
Good.
Yeah, keep that to yourself until tomorrow. So, anywho, keep that to yourself. So, anywho, let's move on. Anything else?
Like me,
Like shit.
one more. Okay, here's the bit. They want to be more like the Avengers with their Star Trek franchise.
That
What the
doesn't
fuck does that even mean?
make any fucking sense.
Yeah,
Now,
let's get
Here's the thing.
Right.
We're talking back to Paramount again, which is pretty much a subsidiary of Viacom, which basically owns Nickelodeon. So not only is we have M. Night Shyamalan complaining about Paramount's last Airbender, now Paramount themselves complaining that their Star Trek movies aren't as big as the Avengers movies. And
Are
I was
you
like,
fucking serious?
Okay,
that is such a
I'm going live
childish
again.
thing.
Little
Seriously.
question. Who the fuck cares? Jesus! Star Trek was never like the Avengers. Even in the reboots, it was never like the Avengers. It doesn't need to be the Avengers. Sure, so what? Are you just only looking at the fact that they were both they were financial and critical hits? You idiots!
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know.
I still haven't seen them. I mean, I've been wanting to watch. I'm not that big of a Star Trek nut. I've only seen the first 2 movies and 1 episode of the original show. I want to get into it a bit more. I think I might in the coming weeks or so, since I've got a lot more free time now. But still, what kind of idiotic thinking is this? Just because, like, why does everything have to be like Marvel now, the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Newsflash, you don't have to do that in order for your film to be successful. You want to know how to make their film successful? Say it with me now, everyone. Good movie!
Oh, okay, so let's see. Now that we talked about it, now that you mentioned it, George, it reminded me of that article a few months ago, that ever since Marvel was successful at the cinematic universe, every other studio wants to get in. So we know DC is going in. Sony's trying to do with not just Spider-Man, but a cinematic universe based on Robin Hood.
Wait, what?
I'm serious. Sony is doing a cinematic universe based on Robin Hood, which is like so strange. We know Universal's already is doing their cinematic universe with that Dracula film that came out last year. I forgot what the name.
Dracula Untold.
Yeah, so that's the start. The next one's gonna be The Mummy. So all the Universal monsters, they're doing that. The Fast and the Furious series is gonna create a cinematic universe on its own. That's confirmed. What? And we know, and Hasbro's doing the same thing now with the Transformers franchise.
God damn it! What the fuck?
So everybody's trying to emulate what Marvel's doing. So
here's the big thing with this. You know how I said like a couple seconds ago about how you make a good film and that's how you get successful? I think the perfect example of it, I think a good amount of you will agree with me, especially, and even a good amount of our listeners or watchers or whatever the fuck you want to call them. I think a prime example on how to redo a new franchise, but not focus on making a cinematic universe and just focus on making a good film, is with Mad Max Fury Road. If any of you have seen that movie doesn't set up like anything. Like, it does set up, like, it has a great mythology, world building, and all this stuff, but it's not focused on setting up a franchise. It's focused on the main story, the main characters, the main ideas, everything, and not focus on, and they put the franchise ideas later. George Miller wasn't focused on making a franchise with this, and now he's saying he was. You want to know why? Because his movie was a financial and critical hit. It's holding at a fucking 98 on Rotten Tomatoes. It opened with like 48 million on opening weekend, and now there's confirmed to possibly be a sequel. That's how you fucking do it. You don't have to set up another cinematic universe to just compete with Marvel. Just because it works for them doesn't mean it will work for you. God!
And here's one thing the studios. Yeah. Let me add to that. There's something the studios don't realize, is that this is something that I have actually been anticipating as far as Marvel's concerned. We're gonna have what I would call a superhero burnout. I mean, eventually people will grow tired of it, and I'm pretty much hoping that Marvel will pretty much end this run after Infinity War. But it's pretty much clear that there's a phase 4 of their cinematic universe that comes after Infinity War, starting with the Inhumans. And that's pretty much concerning for me if people are still interested in this thing 4 years from now. And now these people are trying to cash in as much as they could. And this is my warning to them, is that people will basically get tired of it. And they just simply want to watch a standalone movie, watch it, have a blast, and not worry about an expanded universe of somewhat.
Exactly. Again, look at Fury Road. That works perfectly. Like, I have not seen a single Mad Max movie. I understood everything that was going on in that.
Yeah, yeah, right. Like
Hell,
you know,
another good example, like, of setting up a franchise, of setting a potential franchise, but not like being preachy and sentimental about it, like with Marvel, with them summing up. Look at fucking Dread back in 2012.
yeah, yeah,
That was so good. I can't believe that didn't get a sequel.
Same.
yeah. Right now, yeah. This idea needs to fucking end. The only franchise I can see working it's the Universal Monsters and Transformers, but Transformers needs to be fucking rebooted. Rebooted. You can tell the tales that you can tell almost 20 years of comics and films, but you need to reboot. You need to erase everything that Bay has done because they won't work in those stories.
Exactly. Like,
Yeah.
Age of Extinction, to a certain extent, say what about the movie's overall quality, it did set up like a good idea for like the potential universe, like the ideas of like other Transformers being out there, the ideas of Cybertron still being alive, these hunters being there. That's cool stuff. You have a lot to go on with that. Just keep Michael Bay as far away from it as possible, is what I say. And even the Universal Monsters ideas could potentially work because they kind of did that back in the 1930s. Like, we had like Frankenstein versus the Wolfman and stuff like that, and I feel like that could work potentially in this kind of era. I mean, I haven't seen Dracula Untold, so I don't know like if how that turned out, but I don't know.
It's not a bad film. I've actually watched it. It's a pretty okay film, and it does make the setup for the Universal Monsters universe. So we should expect the Mummy either this year or the next, and then have these guys back come together. But,
Yeah.
still going back to Paramount and this Star Trek thing. Um, it's just bizarre. Now, the one who actually made this is Simon Pegg, who plays Scotty in the films, and I know Simon Pegg from Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead, and I love them. I love them there. So, but he according to him that Paramount is actually rewriting the whole script for the third Star Trek film because the overall script looks like a typical Star Trek film. They want to do something different. So think of a western or a horror movie, a thriller, or a heist movie like something out of GTA. But you got Star Trek characters in there, and I was like, seriously?
Wasn't Simon Pegg hired when they originally hired him to be the writer? Didn't they hire him to write a Star Trek movie? And what did he give them? A Star Trek movie. And now they're saying they don't want a Star Trek movie? That's fantastic logic on your part,
a Star Trek movie that is basically Star Trekky. They wanted it something just like, you gotta be kidding me.
Idiotic thinking. This is not just idiotic thinking. This is just
they not watched
brain dead.
the past Star Trek films? Did they not watch William Shatner? Did they not watch Patrick Stewart? Those were some of the best.
Did they even watch the J.J. Abrams movies? Like, what the fuck?
It's like, jeez, this is so out of work. Okay, granted, J.J. Abrams is no longer working on Star Trek because he's now at Star Wars.
Well, yeah,
and
of course.
Instead, the fans were actually calling for Jonathan Frakes. Jonathan Frakes was played William Riker in The Next Generation. So, and he was a director. He directed some of the movies and the TV parts of the TV shows. They all wanted, but instead, Paramount decided to hire the guy who directed the recent Fast and the Furious film to do this one. So that was already disappointing enough. Yeah.
Okay,
So
that
it's like-
actually could be really interesting with like James Wan and Simon Pegg together making a Star Trek movie. That could be really fucking cool to watch, actually.
Yeah, but still, I don't know. Personally, they should have put Frakes in part because Frakes knows how the franchise works. He's lived through it. So, and with him at the helm, we could pretty much expect what we've seen. But I'm a little bit concerned carrying the guy who did Fast and the Furious, and the fact that the third Star Trek movie, which is called Star Trek Beyond, would be anything but a Star Trek movie. And I'm a
Exactly.
Trekker, so I don't know how this third film will actually give justice to everything Patrick Stewart, William Shatner, the late Leonard Nimoy worked hard for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's just hope that. Yeah. Anything else to say, Jack?
It's just all a bit fucked, isn't it? Also, like, money orientated.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
So,
rather than making good films.
I would rather just see I just want a good Star Trek film where it has all the elements of a Star Trek, because that's what they did with the original series. That's what they did with the Next Generation. That's with all the movies and the first two J.J. Abrams ones. They did so well. Why change it? Is it because they want it to be bigger? So they had to do like what? A Matrix-like story with Star Trek characters in it. I don't know. It
Okay.
it just boggles
To
my
be
mind.
fair. Okay, to be fair, a Matrix-style story with of Star Trek characters would be fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Anyhow, and if you guys have anything else, we can move on.
Yeah. We can move on. Yeah.
Yes,
We
well.
already kicked the bucket enough. It's,
Well, I think that's going to be the end of news. We're going to want to do the movie of the week, aren't we?
Yeah.
All right.
So I'll see you guys in like 5 to 10 minutes.
All right. See you guys later.
See ya, man.
All right.
All right, this has
Uh,
been the Master
Thanks for
Tunes
sticking with us with the
podcast,
news.
and all right then. See you in a couple minutes.
Oh, one
Yeah.
more thing. Well, before we go, I'd like to give my condolences to the family of John Stevenson. He's a veteran voice actor from Hanna-Barbera. He actually played Dr. Quest in the original Johnny Test. He played Mr. Slade in the Flintstones. He played Fancy in Top Cat. He actually passed away earlier this week, and he was in his 90s.
Oh no.
So, yes. But the cause of death is not known, but he does have a history of Alzheimer's for some time and is living in a nursing home. So we pretty much lost a legendary voice actor from back in the day. So I like to give my condolences to his family because he pretty much really, really did a great job. I will always remember him as Mr. Slate in the original Flintstone series.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same.
Wow, what a way to end a pretty depressing note to end the podcast on. Thanks, Ryoka.
Well,
Yeah.
that guy can rest in peace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, see you guys in a couple of minutes.
Yeah, I'll take a quick drink.
All right.
Ciao, ciao.
It's been April O'Neil.